Hi, I'm Sherry with Grace Monroe Home and Design with the Pros Club, and today we're going to be making a fall wreath. Let me show you what we're going to be using for this wreath. We've got a 16-inch grapevine wreath. Now you could go with a 14 or an 18-inch. I think it'll be fine. We are using a 16-inch. We have got these little wooden circle cutouts that we're going to be using, as well as the little hello sign that we'll be using, and we will show you all about those when we get going here. And then we've got several bushes of fall flowers that we're going to use, as well as some beautiful ribbon. Look at this orange and I think it's white. It's kind of a creamy white checked ribbon that we're going to be using. We've just got some green and some orange to go with it. So let's get started first with making our sign. Okay, so we're going to first get started painting our sign. And the first thing I'm going to do, because I want to go ahead and put my frog tape that I'm using in the center on it, I'm going to measure. So this one is 18 inches, so half of that's going to be 9. So I'm just going to kind of put a little mark right here. I'm just using a tiny little mark, and that way I'm going to measure one more time just to make sure. Yep, I'm right there at 9. And I know that that's going to be halfway. So I'm going to take my frog tape and I'm just going to put it out in a straight line, just right there at that 9. And I mean at that little dot, sorry. And I put it up under that little dot, just right there so that it's touching it. But it is under it just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to just take this and fold it under just like that. And now I've got it marked off halfway. So this part I'm going to be doing in my white. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Get my white paint. I'm going to shake it up first. And I do need to get my gloves. I do use these little, disposable gloves just to keep the paint off of my hands so that they're just not full of paint. Because I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not a neat painter, so I do tend to get it on me. So I am wearing an apron and I've got my gloves on. Just like that. So I first just shake up my white paint, and you can put this on a paper plate. You can put it on, anything that you've got that can be thrown away, because we're just going to pour some of our paint out here. That's probably not going to be enough. Let me take the lid off so I can get some more in there. There we go. We'll start with that. And now I'm using little sponges to paint this. You could use, paint brushes if you wanted to. I just probably am not going to make a whole lot of these, so I didn't go to the expense of buying paint brushes. I'm just using the little sponge brushes. These I think were 99 cents for 2 of these. And then I also ordered a pack, or got a pack of these that's got all different sizes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting the paint on my board. Now you're going to have to put several coats of this, and this is great. This is why the frog tape is so good, because you want that straight line right there at when you're finished. You want to be able to take that that tape off and have that straight line. So we're just going to go over it, make sure we smooth it all out. And then you're just going to let this dry, because you want to do each color and let the color dry. So we're going to be doing this one, the top part, in white. So we're just going to let this part dry, and I just kind of smooth it out the best I can. And now we're just going to let that dry. And once it's dry, we're going to go over it with another coat, because it's going to take 2 coats to make it really, really pretty. Now, since we're going to be letting that dry, I'm going to go ahead and put around the outside edge just like this, because I want to make sure that that white is all around the edge as well. So we're just going to come around, and if it's on the back, that's okay. That's going to be on the wreath, so it doesn't matter, but just smooth that back out just like that. And now we just let it dry. Okay, so now while this dries, I'm just going to kind of put this to the side and let that be drying, and I'm going to go ahead and paint our little hello sign. And, you know, I am using my silicone mats because this paint will just wipe right off of it. So that is a good thing. Now, I am using orange because this is going to be a fall hello wreath. So I'm using orange for my little hello that's going to go in the center. So, I'm using a smaller sponge, as you see. This is one of the smaller. I think that might be either a 3/4 or 1 inch one. So I'm just going to do the same thing. It's going to take a couple of coats of this. So I'm just going to put my first coat on. And now if you're in a hurry, you can use a hair dryer to make it dry a little faster. I'm just going to let it dry naturally. I think it just does better that way, so that's what I'm going to do. But you can do it either way. That'll be fine. We're just going around all the letters. I'm just getting a quick first coat on it. And then, as soon as that has time to dry, I will put the second coat on. Just make sure. And now, this is a very thin hello, just like the circles are thin. I know that Hobby Lobby does sell the thicker wood pieces and the thicker hello sign that's just a little bit bigger. If you decide to go with one of those, that is fine. Just keep in mind that you want to make sure you do all the sides of those, because those are thicker and you're going to be able to see them. These, you don't really have to worry about it that much because you're not going to really be able to see it once it's on the sign. But with those, if you do go with the thicker ones, you do want to make sure that you get, you know, all the edges and all of that really, really good, because you will be able to see it. I like these because these are very thin, but they're light. The ones from Hobby Lobby, the circles are so heavy, and these are just so light and easy to work with. So they may not be as substantial as the ones from Hobby Lobby, but they're easier to work with. But okay, I've got my one coat on my hello, and so I'm just going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to put on my second coat, and then that will be done, and I can go with my second coat, with my first coat of the bottom part of my circle. That'll be what I do next. Taken the tape off, and you see I've got my perfect line right there. So now we are going to paint the bottom, and I'm going with a green. It is called avocado green is what I'm using. You could use black, you could use, you know, any other color, but since we've got our hello in orange, I thought the green would be really pretty. Now we've got to put the tape on again, but we want to put it so that the bottom of our frog tape is touching that line that we made with the white. So we've got to put it over top of the white and make sure that it is straight and that we've got it touching the white. So I'm going to take it up and do it again. Make sure I get it really good and on there. Because if not, you will have a little space in between, and you don't want a space in between the white and the green. So take your time and get this on there just right, because this is going to be very important. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that that is very good. And you can even see right here where I got a little bit, I didn't have that down tight enough, and so the white came through. I'm going to cover that up with green so it's okay, but just make sure that you get your, go across it with your fingers. Make sure that is really good and tight on there. So now we are just going to, I'm using my sponge again, and I'm just going to paint this bottom in this avocado green. Now, like I said, if you didn't want to use this color, go with whatever you want to use. I almost used black. I think black would be pretty. The only thing I wanted this one to I wanted it to look more fall and not necessarily Halloween. And a lot of times with black and orange, people automatically think Halloween. And so I wanted this one to be more fall. So I think the green with the colors we're going to use in the wreath itself, and then with the orange hello, I think it's going to go nicely. So I'm just going to keep putting this on. I just smooth it across because it will get some little bubbles in it. So just make sure, not that place where there was white right there, I'm making sure to get that really good and go even across. And then as soon as this dries, I'll put on my second coat, and then we'll be ready to attach our sign. Now we've got our circle painted, and I think it's turned out so cute. So now I'm going to add my hello sign to the middle. Okay, so, and I did not paint the back side. You could if if it bothers you, but we're going to be putting it on here, so it doesn't really matter. So we're just going to leave it just like it is. Now, I do want to make sure that I get it in the middle. You can measure if you want to make sure that you've got it exactly where you want it from the edge. That's 3 inches from that edge, and this is 3 inches. So I've got it just in the middle with 3 inches on each side, and I want it to be so that the line, our little paint line that we had here, is going straight through where the hello is. So I've got that positioned about where I want it. And now I'm going to be using super glue, Gorilla Glue, and I'm using the one that's got the brush. Now any kind of Gorilla Glue will work. So, whatever you've got will be fine. So I'm just going to take and put just, and honestly, you do not have to put a lot of this. You don't have to coat every bit of it. Just kind of put some, in the main places, and it's going to hold for you perfectly. Just remember that when you get it put on here, this is going to stick very quickly. Now, it will take a little while to be, good and permanently stuck, but it's going to be stuck pretty good on here just as soon as you put it on. And you could use any kind of this glue if you want to. Honestly, I think hot glue would probably stick it as well, but I just didn't want to take a chance of it falling off, so we are using this. And it's supposed to glue in like 10 seconds to where, it's pretty secure, but it says that it takes overnight for it to be permanent. So let's just make sure we get some of our glue on each of our letters here. And if you want to, you can take a little pencil and mark where you want to put your hello sign, just to make sure you've got it exactly where you want it. I'm just going to kind of guess at it, but if you want it exactly perfect, then you can put little marks and show you right where you want to put it. So I want this to be, like I said, about 3 inches from either side. So I want to get it straight and just put that down. I think I've got it about where I need it. Let's see, I'm gonna move it this way just a fuzz before I stick it really good. Okay. Let's see, do I want to go up just a little bit, I think. Yep, I think that is good. So we are just going to go with it right here. So I just want to mash those down so that they are glued on. And then once it's glued, I had another backing that I was just sitting it on. Oh, I'm stuck. Let's see. Hold on, I've got my, there we go. So now we have got it on. I didn't hold that long enough, but you'll see it will come off if you don't get it stuck. Make sure you mash each letter down and then let it dry for several hours so that we know it is good and stuck. And now we've got our sign finished. We are going to use our jewelry hole punch to make some holes in our sign, and we can put it in our wreath. Okay, so we're going to make our bow, and I'm using my Bow Dabra bow maker for this, and I am using also my 26 gauge wire. This is just 26 gauge floral wire, and I just unroll a fairly long piece. I'd rather have too much than too little, so I'm just unrolling it, and then I double it over so that I have the two ends on one side and then the loop on the other, and I take it and I put it directly straight down the center of my Bow Dabra, just like that, and then I just tuck that wire up under the Bow Dabra just so it's out of my way. Now I'm going to be making 2 bows. Well, both of them are going to be stacked bows, but my first one is going to have 14-inch tails. So I've already cut my tails 14 inches and I've dovetailed them. And to dovetail them, I fold them in half just like that. And I take my scissors and I start at the corner closest to me and I just go up at an angle towards the center, just like that. And that's gonna make your dovetails. So I've got those done, and I'm gonna put my orange and white checked ribbon in first, and I just pull them up to the top to make sure that they're even. And I'm going to make my loops, and I'm just gonna do tail and then loops, tail, loops, just like that. So I'm going to put my ribbon in so that the side that's not so pretty is facing up, so that when I come over and make my loop, I've got that pretty loop just like that, and you can see the pretty ribbon. Now I've got to do that on my right side, so I have to twist the ribbon here on my right side so that the side that's not pretty is facing up, so that when I come over to make my loop again, I've got the pretty side up. So now I push those down, and then I use my thumb and mash them down and bring them up in the center to make sure they're even. This one's just a little too long, so let me pull that back just a little bit and check it again. Still a little too long. Okay. Maybe this, I think that's got it. Let me double check it. Yep, that's right. Okay, so I'm gonna twist And then I'm going to make my next loop, and it's going to be just the same size as the one in front of it. And now I'm going to tell you, this ribbon is very thick, so it is a little harder to use. You kind of have to manhandle it a little bit, but it is beautiful ribbon. It's just very thick, so it does make it difficult. Okay, so I'm going to just cut that off because we're just doing 4 loops of each color. So I'm going to cut that off and push it down. Now my next color is going to be my green. So I'm going to put that in, my tail in, and just push that down. And then I'm going to get my green. And now this is the same on both sides, so you really don't have to twist it, you know, if you don't want to. I tend to do it anyway, just out of habit. And I'm going to make sure that this one, this loop, is just about, I'd say, 1 inch shorter than the one in front of it. Because with the stacked bow, you do want to make sure that you can see all the ribbons really good. And again, I'm just making 4 loops of this one. Okay, so I'm going to cut that one off. Make sure my loops are good. There we go. And now I'm going to put my orange in. And again, this is like that one. You don't have a good side or bad side with the orange, this orange either. So you don't have to twist on these. We went from one really thick ribbon to this one is very thin and flimsy. But it was the color I was looking for, so I went with it. I realized I don't have that. Let me do that loop again because I want to make sure that I've got it shorter than the green. There we go. That's better. And with this flimsy ribbon like this, if you make smaller loops, it's going to make it easier for it to stand up. And you see, I'm trying to keep a finger in the center here because I don't want these to come flying out and we have to start over. So the whole time I'm doing this, I'm keeping something, one of my fingers, my thumb, something in the center. Let's see if this one is even with that one. Okay. So now I can cut this one off. And now I'm going to mash those down. And then I'm going to get my wire out from under. And I'm going to pull up on both of those wires. But at the same time, I'm keeping that thumb in the center as I'm pulling up. And then when I get close to the top, I put the 2 ends through that loop. And then I pull really hard. Now, as I'm pulling here, I've still got it in the Bodabra, and I push with my thumb and my first finger. I push down as I'm going back and forth, and I keep that tension on the wire. Now, I put it on my table, and I press down again with my thumb and my first finger. And then the whole time I'm keeping the tension here, so I'm not letting up. And I take the wire, pull it really tight, and you really do have to do this extra tight when you're working with a thick ribbon. And then I'm just going to twist those wires several times, just like this. Now once I get it twisted around, then I can start pulling my loops out, and I put my hand in my loop just like this and fluff it out. And you can just put it down on the table. If you've twisted several times in the back, it's not going to come undone. So you can just put it on your table and get all of those fluffed out just like this. And I will fluff it out some more when before I put it on the wreath. Okay, so I'm going to put that one aside, and now I'm going to make my other one. So I take my wire again, and I have another long piece of wire. Now fold it in half. So I've got the two ends on one side, the loop on the other, and then I just bring it all underneath it just like I did before. Now these tails are cut at 21 inches. So these are all, I'm just going to bring them in just like that, and I'm going to pull at the bottom to make sure that I've got those even. And all of these tails are going in at the same time. Just like that. And now I'm going to pull out some of my ribbon to get it ready to make my loops. And I'm going to do the same way. I've got an inch of the ribbon on this side. I've got the side that's not pretty facing up. And I've made my loop. So I twist. Make my other loop, and then mash down at the same time, bring those up, and those are even. So now I'm going to just twist again and measure to that one just like that, twist and measure to that one. And this one's going to be a little bigger, so I'm going to make 3 loops on each side with this. And all of these, you just measure from to the one in front of it. And if they're not perfectly the same size, as long as they're close, it's good enough. Okay, so now I'm going to put that aside and get my green, put it down, and I'm still making this, you know, I'm stepping down with each size of these. So the green's going to be a little smaller or a little shorter than the orange and white. And I am just going to keep making my loops. Just like that. Now this is going to be a bigger bow than the top one, which is what we want. Okay, so we've got 6 of those. 3 on each side, and now we're going to do our orange. So I'm doing the exact same thing, except I'm stepping down each time so that they're just a little smaller. And just measure it to the one in front of it. cut this one off. Now I'm going to put my finger here and my thumb in the center, pull up just like I did before, put my two ends through my loop, and then take that out, put it on the table and mash really hard because I want to get those down real tight. And then I'm just going to separate my two ends. Flip it around, and then just twist it. And we'll wrap it around my fingers. And just put my hand through the loop. And just fluff that out. There we go. And just take your time doing this. This does take a few minutes, and but it's going to make it so much better if you go ahead and get it fluffed out like you need it. So just take your time with it. I would not, with this orange, I definitely would not try to make big loops with these. It does hold up better. It's wired ribbon, but it's a very thin wired. So, see, it makes cute little loops. But if I tried to go too big, it would not work. I'll bring all my ends, my tails down. And now we will get our wreath, our hello sign on our wreath and our bows so that we can make our wreath. But there we go. Okay, now I've got our bows on, I've got our sign on our wreath, and I'm going to show you what I did with that. I'm going to just use this to show you here. I did use my little hole punch, my jewelry hole punch, and I just punched a hole in the bottom and the hole in the top and used my 26 gauge wire in the holes and through the wreath at the top and the bottom. And then when I tried to put my bows on, they just wanted to fall forward. So what I did was I made two other holes, two down here in the bottom and two at the top. And I used my wire from that, that we made our bow with, and I put it through those two holes and through the wreath and tied it off. And so that is just something, and if you can do that, or you could just use some glue, go ahead and put it into the wreath like you normally would, and then just use some hot glue to keep it up on the sign like that. So I don't know that you can see what I did exactly, but I did just put those two in there, and then I just worked the wires through the grapevine just like I normally would, and then just twisted them, and that held them there on the sign. So I wanted them to be really prominent on the sign for this one, and so that was the reason I did that. Now let me show you what we're going to be using. We've got these little mini cattails from Hobby Lobby that we're going to start with, and I have just kind of taken these, you can take them apart here, and let's get the next one and then I will show you. And then just take your scissors, be very, very careful. And if you want to leave them straight, you can. So don't think you've got to curl them, but I like them curled. I don't want them really, really tight curled, but I like them a little curled. So I just take my finger, put that on the flat of the scissors, and just kind of slide them along just like that. And you just don't want to do the the actual cattail that's on here. But you can do that and get some of them. You don't have to do it at all. If you like them straight out, that is fine. Just make sure that you are very careful when you are doing the scissors like this, because I surely don't want you to get hurt. So we're going to do a couple more of those. And this particular one, we're going to have a few little wildflowers in it, but I didn't want a lot of flowers. I wanted a lot of, you know, the more things in nature that you would find in the fall. And so that, now if you know, you can do all kinds of things with this particular design. If you wanted to use a lot of flowers, you certainly could. But that's just not what I wanted to do for this one. So I'm just going through, and like I said, you don't have to be really careful with these as far as, you know, doing each individual one. Just do a few of those to get a few of them kind of curly. That's just gonna, I think, give it even more dimension in the wreath by having those different ones, because we've got some that are coming out straight and some that are curled. So there we go. I think might as well do this whole bush. This one's actually got two of the cattails, so I will probably put this one maybe at the bottom. I don't think I can cut them apart. Let's see. Nope, I don't think they're going to be good if I cut them apart, so we're just going to use those at the bottom. These now are not in Hobby Lobby's fall flowers. These are actually in, so if you're at the store looking for them, they are in they're mixed in with the regular flowers, regular greenery, you know, over in that section. So that is where you will find those. They have these year round. Okay, I'm not going to use that, so I'm going to throw that one away. Let's just get this done. This one I know is going to be not your typical fall wreath, but sometimes you just want to do something a little different. Okay, so that one's actually got three. I didn't even realize that had three little cattails. So I'm going to go ahead right now and put this down at the bottom. So I'm just going to stick it in my glue skillet is what I'm using. And I'm going to come up under my tails and put this at the bottom. There we go. Just like that. Okay. So we'll take a couple more, and I'm just going to move them over on the side just a little bit, just like that, because I want them just to kind of be full around the bottom. And you see, I'm just going up into my grapevine that's behind my sign. I've got those at the bottom, so I'm going to put these up at the top. Just going to put one here at the very top. Just right in there. Put this a little more to the side. And then I've got the bottom, just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Just like that. Now I think I've got one left, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it, and I'm just going to put it up in the middle. Just like that. Okay, so right now we've just got the grasses going on. So next, I've got several little things that I'm going to use. Like I said, I didn't want this to be, you know, your typical wreath with the fall leaves and, you know, which I love those. I love them, but I just didn't, that's not what I had pictured with this one. Just taking, and these again, these are from Hobby Lobby as well. So I'm just getting the price tags off of here. And these are the little Chinese lanterns that are in these, and I think they look so pretty in fall wreaths anyway. And so I think these are so cute. And then they've got two little fall leaves with them. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to bring that right here in the center. And because these are, you know, you can't really see the grapevine, you may have to either work on these on a table or actually, you know, go behind them like I just did to get that where you want it. How cute are those though? So cute. I love these. I'm just kind of straightening them out a little bit so that everything is turned the way that I want it to be. This one just right in here like that. Nice tag off of this one. Those little tags are kind of hard to get off of these. Straightening out my flowers here. There we go. Okay, there they are. Let's get the prices off of this one real quick. And I do apologize, I should have already had this done. And I just didn't. Okay, so straighten this one out just a little bit. Get it fluffed out. Okay, this one's going to go in the bottom. going to do the same thing with this that we did up at the top. That like we want it. And I've got some little pip berries, and I think I am. I couldn't decide if I was going to add these or not, but I kind of think they'll give it that little extra, so I think I will do that. But here again, this is your preference. You can leave them out if you don't, want to use those. That will be just fine. Take this one. I know I don't want to use it as the one big thing, so I do want to take it apart. And just pulling this one apart. First one, I'm just going to kind of have it just coming out like that to the side a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And the thing with something like this, you can put as much in it, if you want to put a lot of flowers or whatever, you can do as much or as little as you want to with this. Because the main thing, is the big sign in the middle, and you've got that. So if you don't want to use much, or if you want to use more, it's your design. You can do it however you like it. That will stand up a little bit. There we go. I think that's better. I'm going to come in from behind a little bit with this one. Actually, I don't think I changed my mind. I think I'm going to try putting this a little closer. Cut those ends off. This last one. Okay, there we go. right, so now I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom with this. Pull all these apart. There we go. Okay. And when I'm putting one in, then I just go right ahead and do the other one like it. That way I don't get too many on one side or anything like that. I do one side and then the next, and back and forth. So let me try it just up under here. Move my tails because I want some of these to come out of the bow. It's not going in where I want it to. I'm going to turn it this way. You may just have to kind of manhandle them to get them to go right where you want them to go. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to leave that one there since it doesn't want to do what I want it to. Like I want it. Okay, so here's where we are so far. Now, before I add my flowers, I have some of the greenery here, and I picked this. Now, I know that a lot of people are doing a lot with this this greenery from Hobby Lobby, and I love this. I think it is beautiful, but it's, first of all, it's extremely expensive, and I just felt like for the colors we were going with and the fall that this has already started turning. You can see it's got the little bit of orange and light yellow, and so it looks like it's getting ready to be in fall. So I just felt like that these would work better. And I think this is the one they called baby tears. I'm not positive about that. Whoops. Let's pull that one right off. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to first put some of this around. There's that one. These do fall off easy, so you may need to glue a couple of them if they've come off. There we go. Let's see, I think I'll start with this one, but I don't think I'm going to leave it that long. Nope, I think I'm going to cut it. Let's cut it about right here. I just kind of want this peeking out from the bottom. But if we don't like it, we will take it out. I'm going to look at it and see. Do this one right about here, I think. Let's see. I'll back it up so that I can see if it's even worth using it. And honestly, I don't think it is. I think that is just money we don't need to spend for it. So we will use that for something else. Okay. So now we've got our wildflowers. And I have used these for years from Hobby Lobby. I'm glad that they have them every year. They are a great color, and just being the small little flowers, they've got a lot going on with the grasses. Now, I have pulled these real thick ones off. If you don't like those, just take them off. There's been some designs that I've left them on and some that I've taken them off if they just didn't look like I wanted them to. So, but we are going to get these cut and ready to go on our pretty design. Okay. We'll try with the grass and just see if we like it. Oops, my hello's crooked. There we go. So I'm going to start. This in front. And just make sure, because this does have several different colors. It's got the a little bit of burgundy, the orange, and then the yellow. So just make sure when you're putting them around that you're making sure you get all the colors, you know, kind of mixed in. Up under my tails. Put these down in here. Let's do that on the other side. May add a few more of our Chinese lanterns too. I really like the look of those. Just keeping sprinkling these around. I love the look of these in it. They're just so cute. Try a different one. I think I want one just like the other one on the other side. Yeah, that's better. That is better. Now I'm almost getting to the place that I am finished, but I've got another one of my little cattails, and I think I want some more at the bottom of it. So I don't really need any more at the top, I don't think, but it looks to me like I've got more on this side than this side, so I am going to add some of these. One more of my Chinese lanterns. Just to kind of even it out. one more. Sometimes I just have to make myself stop because I will keep adding that one more, you know. It's like just one more of this or one more of that. But I think we can use one more. Now, once I get it, you know, on the door or something, I may feel like I need to put something, you know, one more place or something, and I can do that then. I am going to add one more of these at the top because that is bothering me. So, want to go down like the other one, but we're getting it where I want it. There we go. I think that's better. Okay. And I did get a little glue on my sign right here, but that's okay. I can get that off after it completely dries. But here we go. Now this is a different fall wreath, but I think that people are going to love something different. And this is our Hello fall wreath. Now we will have to go back to the back and cut all of the, you know, stems, any of that off from the back, just like this. And then I do take the hairdryer. Now you do want to be very, very careful with the grasses and things like that because they will shrivel up. So don't hold the hairdryer close. Keep it kind of far out, but just go over it and clean it up, anything like that. But hello fall. So I hope that you will try to make this. The sign does take a day or so for drying and all of that, but so easy and so inexpensive. And just think, I got a pack, I think there was 12 of these, and I'm not sure of the cost, but we will give the supply list. But they were very inexpensive. Now, I do know that Hobby Lobby sells the wood circles and the hello sign, and I wanted to show you, this was one I made to start with, just to see about making it with those. I don't recommend these because these are extremely heavy, and they're pretty. You know, if you're just going to make a door hanger with them, that's great. But to put on a wreath, I just feel like these are just so heavy. And these are light, and they do the job just as well and are just as pretty. So, y'all make it, and make sure to let us see it if you do decide to make it. But there you go. There's our fall hello wreath. And now you can just leave your tails down. I didn't want to cover up any of the stuff, so I didn't make them very long. If you want yours longer, that's fine. I just kind of wanted them there, but not too long. But there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions, let us know. Y'all go have a blessed day. Bye.